What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over what you need to know about the NPCs in Fortnite Chapter 7 Season 2. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you like some more, comment down below which NPC you think is the best, and if you guys would like to use my code in the shop when getting anything, is EvolveJake, just like my channel name is, and it is underneath the webcam at all times. So, in my opinion, the most powerful or most impactful NPC this season is going to be Squibbly. They are at the Squibbly Shores Lighthouse, and Squibbly is a scout specialist this season. So periodically, this NPC will scan the area, marking nearby enemies. And I believe it marks chests and stuff as well, but the main kind of point is going to be that it marks enemies. And the scout specialist has always been great in Fortnite, and this season is no different. But with the bounty system, I feel like this NPC got even better because this is going to be helpful for hunting down your bounties or knowing when a bounty is pushing you. Because a lot of times this season, you'll have that indicator on your map and you'll be like on that indicator or near it and you don't like quite know where your bounty target is yet. And the NPC scanning in a situation like that and marking your bounty would make it much easier for you to win that fight. And even if you aren't the person being aggressive in that situation, if your bounty target is trying to push you and you kind of know where they're coming from, but still you're not entirely sure, having a mark is great. Just at any time getting a scan around you and knowing like, hey, there's an enemy here, or you might learn there's nobody around you, which you might think of as like a fail and a waste of a scan. But at the same time, now you know there's not anybody lurking like very nearby you, and that can be really helpful as well. Even getting no information is information in a way. If you ever encounter any sort of like stalemate situation where an enemy's in a house and won't come out, or they're in a bush and they don't really want to come out, having the scan happen and marking the enemy that's in that bush can make it very easy for you to get damage on them and then push that fight accordingly. The Squibbly NPC is also using a sniper, so if they hit any of the enemies that they shoot, it's going to do a lot of damage. They're not always going to hit every single shot. Their accuracy isn't the greatest, but when they hit, it's really going to matter. So I think the Squibbly Scout Specialist NPC is definitely the most effective NPC this season. Another one that can hit really hard, though, is going to be the Foundation at New Sanctuary. And this NPC is unique because when you hire him, you actually get a quest. And that quest is if you get 3 eliminations or assists while he's hired, he will give you a special vector DMR called the Rift Rifle. And this is a vector DMR that has a charge effect. And if you fully charge it and shoot, instead of shooting a regular shot, you'll actually make a rift that you can use to kind of fly around and redeploy on the map. And you can do this as many times as you have heavy ammo for. It's not really limited in any way. There's not durability. There's not a cooldown. I mean, I guess the cooldown would be how long it takes you to charge the weapon. But it's mobility and a long-range weapon in one. So it is very good. It feels a little bit weird because normally the vector DMR shoots when you hit the shoot button, but since this is a charge style weapon, the regular shot will be fired when you release the button. So it can be a little bit weird in actual fights, but it's still nice to have. And I think in team game modes, especially, being able to have this Rift Rifle and rift your entire team is going to be really helpful for just traveling the map as a team and conserving your other mobility. So it's not my preferred thing to go for, but I still think it's pretty good. The Foundation NPC himself also has a vector DMR that he can shoot. And again, if he hits anybody with that, the damage is going to be pretty significant. And then he can also throw giant rocks at enemies, which is kind of crazy. And these rocks will hit for around 100 damage from what I've seen. And they can also break structures. So this can be game changing in certain fights. I assume if he throws it at an enemy in a bush, it would break the bush. I've seen it break walls and houses. I've seen it break trees. I've seen it break rocks. So if you have a stalemate fight, like we talked about before, where maybe you're behind cover and an enemy is behind cover and nothing's really happening, the Foundation throwing a rock at them and just deleting their cover is a pretty big deal. And if they get hit by that rock, they're going to take a lot of damage. So I think the Foundation NPC is quite good. Obviously, getting the Rift Rifle is going to be game-changing for certain players if it's an item you really like. But even on top of that, as an NPC himself, he's actually more dangerous than what you would expect. The Jones NPC is at Sandy Strip, and he is an assault specialist. And I don't really know what an assault NPC does, aside from just shooting at enemies with an AR. I'm not quite sure if we've ever had any of these before. But when hiring him and playing with him, I didn't really notice him doing anything extra or anything special. I've seen people say, like, this is the one that throws grenades and that's why it's assault. The grenade NPCs in the past were called heavy specialists, and I didn't see him throw any grenades while I had him hired. There was times where like a blue ring would come out from around him and kind of travel, similar to the scan NPC, but it didn't mark anybody. It didn't seem to damage the enemy. It didn't seem to do anything beneficial for me. So I'm not really sure what this actually does, but he does something there. It just, I don't know if it like maybe makes his aim better or lets you know that he's trying to fight. I don't know. He didn't really seem to be that great. It seemed like he was just like a basic hired NPC, like how we had before the specialist NPCs were introduced. And maybe he'll hit some shots and do damage to enemies, or maybe he'll take some shots for you and kind of distract an enemy. But I don't think he's really that game-changing in terms of what we've seen from some of the other specialist NPCs. Like the scout specialist, marking enemies is a unique effect that like you can only get that way, you know, or maybe there's certain items. But this guy just shooting his gun, most of the time the NPCs aren't actually that dangerous, and I didn't really find him to be that helpful. The next NPC that does have a unique effect is going to be the Hope NPC. She is like a bit outside New Sanctuary, and she's the covert specialist. And what this NPC will do is actually turn you invisible if you crouch around her. I mean, she should be with you anyways, but when you crouch, she turns you and herself invisible. This doesn't take effect the moment you crouch, but it is decently fast. Like there is like an animation she kind of has to do. But it seems like if you weren't just invisible recently, she will turn you invisible decently quick. So it's not like you have to be sitting there for like a really long time waiting to become invisible. The moment you stand up or shoot, though, you will no longer be invisible. So it is a pretty limited effect. It's not like you're going to be like actively fighting while invisible. But luckily, it doesn't seem like there is an animation to stopping you from aiming in or shooting, like how Mysterio's medallion did in Chapter 5. That was a medallion that would turn you invisible when you crouched, but once you started shooting, there was like an animation your character would do that would kind of like stop you from aiming in, and it was really annoying. So this will be a decent NPC for like ambushing certain situations, and I have never really been the biggest fan of the invisibility in Fortnite. Like it usually isn't that big of a deal, especially when you're required to crouch, but it can catch people off guard in certain situations. And since it is so rare this season, it's not really something that people are going to be expecting. Like last season, we had this stealth splasher in the loot pool, but since it was just a regular loot pool item, it wasn't really something that you caught a lot of people off guard with because they were kind of somewhat used to playing against it and used to encountering it. But since, to my knowledge, invisibility is only available from this NPC this season, you might actually surprise a decent amount of players. So I don't think it's that great. There's certain end games where it would maybe be helpful, but I don't think like, yo, you need to hire this Hope NPC. She's really busted. No, it's somewhat helpful, but it's not the biggest deal. Unfortunately, this season, there is no supply specialist currently, and that is the type of specialist that I think is typically the best. And I think this season, it would have had a lot of potential to be very good because they can give you ammo and supplies for what you're holding out when it's time for them to resupply you. So they would have a chance to give you overdrive grenades, they would have a chance to give you bunkers, and they would have a chance to give you rockets probably if you were holding out the shockwave rocket launcher. And that would be really beneficial because rocket ammo isn't in the regular loot pool this season. So when you buy a shockwave rocket launcher from the vending or the rivalry boards, that's the only amount of rockets you're probably going to get for that game. It gives you max rockets, but you're probably not going to find more unless you encounter somebody who also purchased the rocket launcher that way. So rocket ammo is really limited, which limits the shockwave rocket launcher, and the supply specialist NPC would help with that while also giving you overdrive nades or bunkers, but that isn't currently in the game. They kind of change the NPCs up sometimes throughout the course of the season, so maybe later there will be, but as of the time I'm recording this, there isn't. There are also several other NPCs around the map who, like last season, what they sell can change from game to game. It's just kind of random which thing they get among several different things. So they could do patch up, which heals you. They can make a rift. They can max out your ammo. And then last season, there was like several different ways they can give gold. I haven't seen that this season, but I haven't talked to a lot of these NPCs. And then last season, there was also a chance for them to upgrade your weapons for gold. And I haven't seen that yet this season, but again, I haven't looked a lot. It also wouldn't surprise me, though, if they no longer upgrade weapons. Maybe somebody in the comments can answer this if they've seen it. But the rivalry boards allow you to upgrade weapons using those rivalry tokens. So I don't know if they took that away from the NPCs. It kind of would make sense to me if they did. Among these, I think the Rift can be helpful. The max ammo can be really helpful for addressing the shockwave rocket launcher like I talked about. Your rocket ammo is limited because there's not really any ways to get it, but these max ammo NPCs will actually max out your rocket ammo if you buy it from them. So in a world where you happen to have the shockwave rocket launcher, you happen to run out of ammo, and then you happen to run into one of these NPCs that's selling the max ammo, you could get ammo that way. But that's probably not going to be a situation that comes up very frequently, but I guess it's good to know when the time comes. Overall, I feel like NPCs are less impactful this season than they have been in recent seasons. The only one that's really that good, I think, is Squibbly and the Foundation. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.